Graffiti is the act of creating art in public places. Because the nature of writing is extremely broad, the boundaries that define its culture are vague at best. Unconstrained by geography, this unique subculture of graffiti broadly overlaps much of the world and is intimately woven into the fabric of society. Gregory Snyder, in his photoethnography Graffiti Lives, explores this unique culture and attempts to understand the meaning of its phenomena. He says, "Anyone who can get large quantities of paint, is able to fight, and is willing to break the law can become a graffiti writer. In theory, writers are not even excluded from the subculture for lack of artistic talent." With this statement, Gregory Snyder effectively describes one of the most important characteristics of graffiti, its widespread accessibility that leads to its incredibly diverse population of writers that make up its culture. Through his research, Snyder learns that, above all, the most fundamental quality of the culture of writing is that it is not monolithic. He begins Graffiti Lives with this assertion and further explains that the accessibility and diversity of writing prevents generalizations from being made about its writers. Differing in class, race, gender, ethnicity, religion, age, appearance, these writers share only one pervading quality: their status of being a writer. This identity is an achieved status that is reached by each individual on their own terms, rather than an ascribed status imposed upon them by society. These writers make up the population of the subculture and demarcate the boundaries of it. Their immediate role as the creators of graffiti qualifies them to determine the meaning of the phenomena. However, through his research, Snyder discovers that each writer understands the meaning of graffiti in different ways. This causes a tension in the general understanding of the phenomena because precise theoretical generalizations are incompatible with the variety of meanings that emerge from such a diverse population of artists. He states, "For some, it was strictly art. For others, a vandalistic thrill. For others, a means to communicate one's worth." Snyder thus explores this culture by connecting with individual writers and appreciating the significance of graffiti on a person-to-person basis. This is reflected in his methodology, particularly in his research techniques of what he calls instigative reporting. He describes his typical approach to the personalized way that he gathers data from a writer. At first contact, he gives a writer his black book, a book filled with words for them to piece. His black book is meant to provide a foundation upon which to begin an interview and a relationship. Upon the completion of the word, he interviews the artist on the basis of what they chose to create. He asks them why they chose that particular word, why they chose to depict it in that way, etc. As a result, Graffiti Lives is comprised of Snyder's experiences and the artistic and personal interests of the writers with whom he chooses to connect. Through his many interviews, Snyder infers the purpose of writing and the means of accomplishing it. He holds that it is the public promotion of one's name through tags, throw-ups, and pieces, with fame as the main objective. Graffiti writing in its purest form is about making a name for oneself by any means. For writers, means getting up enough to get noticed and then following up and building a reputation.